So let's set up our conversion factor. And we need this moles of yttrium atom to be in the denominator, because otherwise, when we multiply this, those moles of yttrium, the unit will not cancel out. Okay, so let's say moles of yttrium, and then up here, we could say moles of Yeezinite. So Yeezinite formula units is really what that refers to. Okay, and if we look up here, this is one of the important tasks that you need to be able to do, is use these numbers and figure out where to put them in your conversion factor. Okay, so we know that if we have, well, just think about which one's supposed to be bigger. For every mole of Yeezinite, we're going to have 5 moles of yttrium. And so that probably means that for 1 mole of Yeezinite, we're going to have 5 moles of yttrium atoms. Okay. And if we just look at this for a second and try and see if this is reasonable, we can ask ourselves, okay, this conversion factor is 1/5. If we multiply any number by 1/5, is it going to make this number bigger or smaller, or stay the same? It's going to make it smaller, right? We're taking 1/5 of this number. And we can expect that this number should end up being, or the number we're looking for, the moles of Yeezinite, should be smaller than the number of moles of yttrium that we need, because each mole of Yeezinite will produce 5 moles of yttrium. So, but we can double check that because we know that now our units cancel out. So this moles of yttrium is in the denominator. Here we go. I got cut off, but we're back. So we had 435,500 moles of yttrium multiplied by this conversion factor. So we get 435,500 divided by 5, and that gives us some number. I'll do the math and get back to you. So we just multiplied 435,500 moles of yttrium by our conversion factor, which stated that for every 1 mole of Yeezinite, formula units, the rock, we had 5 moles of yttrium that would be produced. And so we multiplied 435,500 by 1, divided that by 5. Another way to do it is you could do this division first. This would give you 0.2. Then you can multiply 0.2 by this number. Either way, you end up with this number, 87,100. And what we had written before, what we were trying to get to, was number of moles of Yeezinite, which is the unit that we have left over here. So we have 87,100 moles of Yeezinite, which is the number of moles of Yeezinite formula units, the rock, basically, that we need to dig up from underneath Cinderella Castle to be able to eventually produce for this amount of yttrium atoms that we need. Okay, there will need to be some sort of processing step. So we can say processing step, which will involve some sort of process whereby the rock undergoes a chemical transformation and the oxygen is released from the Yeezinite, and all you're left over with is the yttrium, and then the yttrium can be sold to Adidas and they can make the shoes. But we're not going to worry about that because that's not something that we are going to handle. We're just doing the math right now. Okay, so at this point, I think we're okay to erase some of the rest of this stuff. Let's erase this. And we have our number of moles of Yeezinite, so let's do this. Okay, so now we need to get from moles of Yeezinite to grams of Yeezinite. And what is that conversion factor that we've used a little bit now in the recent past to go from moles to grams or grams to moles? And you might be like, oh yeah, the periodic table, that molar mass number. Oh, okay. So imagine that the periodic table has Yeezinite on it, okay? And I don't know exactly what molar mass you were given in your problem on Canvas, your Yeezinite question on Canvas, but let's just say the molar mass of yttrium, the atom, is 161 grams per mole. Okay, so now we have Yeezium Ye5O4. And if you think back to the iHotpocalypse question from the CC as well, you'll remember that if we want to find out how much 1 mole of a Yeezinite formula unit weighs, or 1 mole of Yeezinite formula units, so 1 mole of Yeezinite, then we need to figure out how many moles of oxygen atoms and how many moles of Yeezium atoms are part of that 1 mole of Yeezinite. Okay, so let's do this. We have Yeezium. We also need oxygen. Okay, and oxygen roughly has a molar mass of 16 grams per mole. Okay, but now we need to figure out how many atoms of each are in 1 mole of Yeezinite. So in here, we're going to have 5 moles of Yeezium times, is this the right way I want to do this? 5 moles of Yeezium times 161 grams per mole of Yeezium, and we have 4 moles of oxygen times 16 grams per mole of oxygen. And just a note, this is all in 1 mole of Yeezinite. So in, you can't see that. In the 1 mole of Yeezinite, we have 5 moles of Yeezium and 4 moles of oxygen. So what I'm trying to do here is to figure out how many grams of Yeezium are going to be in 1 mole of Yeezinite and how many grams of oxygen are going to be in 1 mole of Yeezinite. And this is one way to do it here, okay? So we can do the math right here. And 5 times 161, see if I can do some mental math in my head, that's 805 grams of Yeezium. And this is 64 grams of oxygen. And again, this is in 1 mole of Yeezinite. So if we add those together, then we end up with 869. That's not the right way to write 9. Well, I guess it could be, but it's going to confuse me later. 869 grams in 1 mole. We'll write a line so that it's maybe possible to see that. In 1 mole of Yeezinite. So we can say gram per mole of Yeezinite. Okay. So, and now I should probably get rid of this equal sign. Okay. So this right here, 869 grams per mole, is our molar mass of Yeezinite. So I'll write that. Molar mass equals 869 grams per mole of Yeezinite. So in other words, it's the mass of 1 mole of Yeezinite atoms. And 1 mole of Yeezinite formula units. And 1 mole of Yeezinite formula units will have 5 moles of Yeezium and 4 moles of oxygen as part of it. Okay. And that's because 1 formula unit of Yeezium has 5 atoms of Ezium and 4 atoms of oxygen. And so we're just using a different unit here, moles. Okay. So now we have a number of moles of Yeezinite. We have a molar mass of Yeezinite. So let's make some more space on the board here. And do a little bit more math. Then we're almost done. There we go. Okay. So we have 87,100 moles of Yeezinite times our conversion factor right here, right? Times 869 grams per 1 mole of Yeezinite. And what you can see here is that we have our moles of Yeezinite and those units canceled. And so we end up having this number here, and I'm going to need to do that math. I'll be right back. All right, so now we've done our math. 87,100 moles of Yeezinite times our conversion factor of 869 grams per mole of Yeezinite is going to give us 75,689,900 grams of Yeezinite. So this is the number of grams that would need to be excavated from underneath Cinderella Castle to be able to produce the needed number of moles of Yeezinite, to produce the needed number of moles of Yeezium, to produce the needed number of Yeezy shoes for Botswana's National Youth Quidditch League. But we need to report our number in kilograms. So we need one more conversion factor. Okay, let's erase this. And if we have our number here, 75,689,900 grams. Our final conversion factor gets us from the gram unit that we are in to the kilogram unit we need to be in. And so again, we can set up our conversion process like this, and our conversion factor is going to be in the middle. Okay, what unit do we need to end up with? Kilograms, so we need to have that. What unit do we start with? Grams, that needs to be in the denominator. And so now, how many grams are in a kilogram, or one the other way around? So there's 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. And so when we do this math, you can do it 2 ways. You can do the multiplication first and the division second, or the division first and the multiplication second. Okay. So what ends up happening if we do multiplication first, we get this number times 1, so we get that number, divided by 1,000, which means if the decimal place is here, we would move it 3 places to the left. 1, 2, 3. So we end up with 75,689.9 kilograms. And if you wanted to round that, you could round it up to the closest 1, which would be 75,690 kilograms. Okay, so this is your final answer. Okay, and so when you are trying to tell the excavators in Disney World how much rock you need from underneath Cinderella Castle to make sneakers, that's the number you give them. All right. I hope this was useful, and if you are interested in seeing more, then please press like and subscribe. I don't know where to go, and I don't know if that's actually going to do anything, because I don't know if I actively manage my channel, but you can try it out and see what happens. All right. Night, guys. Ta-da.